Welcome back to Let's Talk Careers. I'm so excited to bring another incredible guest. Today we are meeting with Morgan Kight, who is the People's Operations Coordinator at Google. We're going to be talking about all things careers and Morgan's experiences from being a teenager to her current role and, of course, her future aspirations. Welcome, Morgan. It's so exciting to have you with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I love talking to people about their career journeys. And I just thought it'd be really interesting to hear how a young teenager, Morgan, interested in creative avenues, found her way to Google today. But before we talk about your current role, take us back to being a teenager. I mean, when you were thinking about your future, and this is a big one for young teenagers, it's when they're thinking about their future, it's almost out of context. It's kind of like, you're living your best life as a teenager, and then suddenly someone's saying, when seriousness kicks in, what are you going to do with your life? And they're always kind of put aback. How did you approach that conversation when you were 16?
It was quite difficult. I went to an IB school, so coming into my my 11th grade and 10th grade, they were like, "Okay, it's time to choose your classes. If you're going to do IB, what do you want to do?" And it was so far, like I couldn't see myself in college. I was like, "I'm a 10th grader. I don't even know what I want to do." But I did know that I loved the arts. I loved painting, fashion, anything more creative is what I really wanted to do. And so I decided to not do full IB. I wasn't a strong math or science student, and I knew those were my strengths. I struggled throughout most of my middle school and most of my high school. So I knew that if I took IB, it would be really difficult for me to do well in that and to be able to show who I am. I'd be held back by a lot of different things. Doing like the grades would be weighing on me, so I decided to take a different approach and did a certificate. And I chose classes that I knew that I liked. So I did IB art, history, a lot things that were more in the social science sector because I knew that those were things that I would study for and I would enjoy studying for them.
And now that you're in your career and you think back to making those choices, how important were those choices to what you're currently doing today?
They were actually super important. I realized throughout my last 2 years of college that while really enjoyed like art and I really enjoyed English, I couldn't see myself doing them full time as a job. It was something that I liked as a hobby. And to put that into a career, I knew that I'd lose my passion for it and would burn out. It's something that I want to do when I wanted to decompress and just kind of take a step back from anything. And so if I took them full time, it wouldn't be decompressing as much anymore. It would be work.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's kind of swerve into something different then.
When you graduated, because this is a big one for parents, they want their children to go on to university, many of them, but they're also really concerned about the courses or the undergrad programs that they go into. And there's this assumption that a degree is supposed to get you a better job. Would you say that that was the case for you when you went to university and you did your undergrad? Do you believe that it helped you to get a better job, or was there more to that than most people consider?
I think it's difficult to say because everyone is an individual and you really can't factor in so many external things that come into play. For me, I think that college was really important. It really helped me grow, it helped me explore. Um, those 4 years were trial years that I could really make mistakes and not worry about anything else. I was incredibly lucky to have the backing of my parents and the opportunities they gave me as well. So I got super lucky with like just I don't know how life happened. It just the opportunities that came out were just super lucky. It was a kind of a game of chance and also at the same time being able to take the lessons I've learned from school and university and condense them into something that really helped me. My college was actually based in Spain, which was insane to think about when I was 16. I was thinking that I'd only study in the US, that'd be the only place I'm going to. And I think the huge factor was media, like social media and TV shows and movies. I thought the only place that I could study would be the US. And then when I actually searched into universities, I saw great opportunities in Spain, in Europe, in Asia, in like elsewhere. And I thought, like, why just put myself into that box of just going to the US when I could go to Europe? And Europe is really great because in some schools you can specialize. So I didn't have to do 2 years of general education. I could go straight into my major, which was psychology. So within the first day of my classes, I was learning about epistemology. So how do we know the knowledge that we know? And it was insane to think about coming from high school, like arts and history, to now just going straight into my focus area.
I love that you brought that up because whenever I speak with young people and we talk about the post-secondary pathway, should they go to university? I always ask them their intention to go to university. For some students, the intention is what you said, is to really explore themselves, to learn new things. The whole concept of epistemology, I mean, my earbuds went like, oh my God, I love that. I love that whole, philosophical, those conversations that you have looking at your beliefs and how you believe them and reflexivity. It's all amazing. However, for other students, it really is about getting a better job. So with the love of learning, Morgan, that I can clearly see you enjoyed, how did that translate into finding a job? Because that really is the concern of parents. It's an expensive thing to do, isn't it? Go off to university, not just the cost of education, but the whole picture in terms of accommodation, transportation, coming back, visiting family, the exchange rate, depending on where you are, where the money comes from to exchange it into that country. So how did the learning translate into finding a job? You work for a company like Google, a very well sought out company for young people today. How did the learning for you translate into you actually getting hired at a company like Google?
So the university that I went to, they're a business school, so they actually set up their students to pursue past university, which I think some universities don't really do necessarily. So within my last year of university, I was doing a thesis and also doing an internship, and they expect that from you, which seems like a lot. It's like, why am I going into an internship right now? I should be studying, I should be doing my thesis. But it's a really great chance because it means that you have experience, and that's an issue that I think a lot of young career individuals struggle with, is not having that experience. And so by giving myself the chance to actually like do an internship with a company where I was working with FireEye in HR, and that internship actually allowed me to get an opportunity to get a contractor job after I graduated, because I saw that I had worked with them previously. I had applied to the contractor job, and they were like, "Oh, we heard really great things from you when you were working with as an intern. You were really excited. You wanted to learn. You were exploring. We'd love to offer you this career." And then I got, actually, it's a very interesting journey, my career into Google. The contractor job was with uh, the same company, and then I got converted into a full-time employee, and then we got acquired by Google. So it was kind of a jumble into falling into Google in a weird way. I didn't expect it, but it was super cool, super interesting, and I think that's just what life throws at you. I mean, I didn't expect to go into HR. I didn't expect to study psychology, and I didn't expect to do a lot of different things, and now I'm at Google.
Incredible. And I love that you brought in internships because I'm just looking at your experiences here. You did a summer internship at HSBC. You were a mentee at Deloitte. You did another internship in human resources. Would you say that young people, even before going off to university, should put more attention into getting internships? And if so, why?
I think you should. There is so much competition out nowadays. You With how globalized we are as a community, with the world, you're not just fighting against the people who are within your zip code or within your country. You're fighting against so many other people, and these opportunities really make you stand out. It shows that um you're interested. You're looking for things. You're continuously learning. And I think that's really important for companies to want to have people who are looking to just keep on learning and growing as individuals. But I also think it's important to have a balance. So I totally think that like young people should be doing internships, but to also take the break and to have the summer to themselves as well. Um, to like school is it's 9 months out of the year. It's it's a lot. You're learning a lot, you're growing. There's so much coming at you. You have so many different factors. So internships are important. I really think they are, but also taking that time to take a step back and to really just get your battery back up and to take a pause.
Tell me more about how it felt being in a company that then got taken over by a larger company like Google. What was it like? Because sometimes young people think they're going to start somewhere and they're in control of change in their career. But what you experienced was sometimes you have to adapt, right? And there's that time of like change and fear and challenge. What was it like to be on the inside when there was that change happening? You obviously work with people of different ages and different stages in their career. Give us a little bird's eye view of what a young person should expect when a company is going through that change and how an individual needs to be more prepared for their well-being and also prepared for the what if in their career.
Yeah, when I first joined, it was we were going through a divestiture at the same time. So the company was splitting into two different companies. So that was causing a lot of uncertainty. It was super exciting for me. I was so happy just to get any experience and to really do HR, and to really expand my knowledge. But also it was difficult because I actually came during COVID into the company, and so the struggle of not having a team based in the same country, we were all online, and that really hurts the social factor of working. You can't like get lunch casually, or you can't have coffee casually. That was a little scary at first, and I struggled with that for a little bit of time because you feel very isolated at the same time. But I think that really pushed me to communicate with my manager and my teammates. Because if you don't know, if you don't tell anyone, no one really knows what you're going through. So I was very quiet in the first couple of months and just kind of just getting the work, understanding what my job was. And that was fine because the job is important, but also you want to connect with the people around you. And so after that, I had asked just follow-ups with my manager to have more one-on-ones, just to talk to people more. I reached out on chat just to see what was happening, and that was really good to do. You have to be proactive. No one's going to handhold you necessarily through a career, which is difficult because you spend high school and you spend college a little bit with a little bit of handholding. You have your professors there, you have your teachers there, you have a university there to help you. And then you come into a career, into a job, and it's certainly a team will help you. They will help you get your bearings and help you understand the role. But there's also that expectation where you will do it yourself and you'll learn yourself. You don't need as much, uh, I guess, viewership, or you don't need people like watching over you. And that's kind of scary in its own way because now when you make a mistake, it's your mistake. It's really no one else's. Uh, and that's very terrifying. I remember I used to like have my heart was beating so fast when I'd send emails because I was like, oh no, this is an email that I'm sending out and it's not someone else's email. And if it has anything bad, there's going to be repercussions or consequences. And that was definitely something very different. Um, but it's a fun time and a scary time in a weird way.
Course it is. It's really, I think what I'm hearing you say is you have to learn to trust yourself and take responsibility for the consequences of whatever it is that you do in your
Yeah.
career, which going back to secondary school was probably something teachers were always trying to teach, but students didn't really understand. So now you're living it. But Morgan, you're so young and you're still growing in your career. So I know that a student at the end of their secondary journey will look at this interview and go, she's really close in age. Thinking about your course, you did psychology, you did your degree in psychology. Do you believe that it helps you in your current role as a people's operation coordinator? And if so, how?
I would say it does. Psychology is, I mean, the study of human behavior and how humans act, and what they do in cultures, in different areas when they're individuals, when they're in a team. It really helps me interact with people. It helps me understand the baseline. You can't generalize people, of course, but humans do follow a couple of the same patterns sometimes. So I know that in some cultures, it's going to be a little bit more. You can't do, I guess, like not corporate speaking, but they're very straightforward and blunt. And sometimes you can get very offended with that. But it's understanding that their culture is different and they don't mean it in a bad way. And that psychology helped me kind of take into all these different things and like to make sure that I my perspective isn't this one viewship only. It's remembering that everyone has different factors for them and environments around them. Uh, it's also, I know psychology was something that I was super interested in as well. I was passionate about it. So in some ways, I didn't use all the courses that I studied for it, but I enjoyed it significantly. And even if I don't use it today, it was really good to have it in that moment because I knew that I could explore it and I could expand my knowledge on it.
Mm.
And if I ever want to go back to it, I can, if I have a baseline to be able to understand articles about it, learning on myself, taking courses on it, I can do that as well.
Where do you see yourself growing in your career? What are your aspirations today?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I feel like no matter how old you are, that's going to always stop you for a second. I think from a career perspective, I want to just kind of take everything I can. I want to explore every aspect of HR I can. Um, and I think from just a personal life, I just want to be happy with the job that I do. I want to come in to the mornings and not think, oh no, it's a Monday morning. I hate this. I don't want to do this. I mean, of course, you're going to have that, but also be excited to do that job for a number of years. So in 20 years, I want to wake up and think, okay, so what am I doing today? How am I going to tackle on a problem? What's going to be different? What's going to be new and fun? Um, I think I just want to continue to explore. And I've learned in college and especially even in high school, I learned that having one goal is good, but when you reach a point where you have to adapt to something different, that goal can also hinder you because you're thinking that you are failing because you're not reaching that goal. But it's just a different roundabout way to get to where you need to get. I was going to not, I think I didn't choose HR until I was in my second year of college, even. And now I thought that I was failing because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And now I'm thinking, oh, well, I didn't fail. I needed those 2 years to really think about really what I wanted to do. Um, and it was worth it.
Amazing. Let's go to your top three career tips. Number one, you say is choose something that you're passionate about. Number two, don't be afraid to ask questions. And number three, if you feel uncertain, it's completely normal. Explore your interests. At number two, don't be afraid to ask questions. What would you say is the number one question that you wanted to ask when you were younger, but maybe you were too afraid to ask?
I want to ask, what if I didn't go to university? What if I took a gap year and I traveled or I did a job somewhere or I volunteered somewhere? I never got to ask that question of what if I don't do the expectations of what I'm supposed to do. And I think that's really important for some students and for some people. I think you had said, yeah, everyone expects people to go into a university, into higher education, but that's not for everyone. It's definitely something that I enjoyed. And sometimes I look back and I think, oh, well, what if I had done something different? But if I had done something different, I wouldn't have been where I am now.
Mm.
Um, and I think I still ask that question because I never got to ask my original question of what if I didn't do university? And so that kind of still holds me back a little bit.
What would you say was the number one reason that you thought you had to go to university?
I think it's a combination of society. It is difficult to get jobs if you want to go into particular areas. I think HR, it's important to at least have a degree to a certain level. You have to have that foundational knowledge. Um, but I do know other uh, jobs you don't need to have it. Uh, and I think I was just really too afraid to even think about like, what if I said no to this? Everyone around me is doing it. Everyone in my high school went on to a degree. I don't want to be the one left behind.
Mm, there's so much to that conversation, isn't there? As you look back at your younger self, is there anything that you wish you could do over in terms of preparing yourself for your career?
I do wish I pushed myself harder. I was a good student. I was actually a bad student in high school. In college, I was a much better student because that's something that you're passionate about. You want to study it. In high school, I wish that I'd actually listened to my teachers more and to actually build that connection with my teachers because I was in and out of the classroom. If I didn't have to be in the classroom, I was not in the classroom. And I kind of wish that I didn't do that. I had some really amazing teachers who were super invested in in as a student. And now I look back and I think, oh, I was such a dumb 16-year-old or 17-year-old. Why wasn't I exploring any of these opportunities? It had to come way later into my life. But I kind of wish that I had reached out more.
Amazing. Oh, Morgan, I can ask you so many questions, but I know we need to bring it to a close. My last question, what's it like to work for Google?
It's it's so exciting. I really everything is new. Everything is just a learning experience. I have an amazing team as well, who really answer all the questions I have, and they can be the same questions sometimes, and it's still they still will answer my questions, and I'm like, thank you so much for that. um, but it's a really cool company. I know that there are ups and downs to companies. It's not your life, but it definitely helps when you have a cool company that is supportive of you with a work-life balance, with helping you grow. There are so many opportunities to help you grow in Google that truly it's such a fun experience. And even my previous company was also really great with that too.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Morgan, for being with me here today and giving us some of your time. It's really exciting to see a young student just like you. I mean, you graduated high school in 2017, and here you are today in 2023 talking to us about your career. Super, super excited. I can't wait to see you grow and thrive, and I can't wait to see the amazing things that you do in your career. I know the sky is the limit, Morgan. And that
Thanks.
will bring us right to a close. Thank you for being here, Morgan, and thank you everybody for watching. If you missed it, we were speaking with Morgan Kight, who is the People's Operation Coordinator at Google. And what's really exciting is that Morgan studied in the UAE. So if you are a UAE student today and you're thinking about your career path, this is definitely one to rewind and watch again. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you at our next Let's Talk Careers with Ms.V.